Tēnā koutou katoa. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Alex Palmer. I'm Chief Executive of Waitaki District Council. Welcome and thank you for joining us this evening for the inaugural meeting of the Waihemo Community Board, which I now formally declare open. Welcome to those who are joining us online as well to view this meeting. I'll be chairing the meeting until such time as the board members have been sworn in and a chair has been elected for the board. I'd just like to start by saying, first of all, congratulations to all the board members elect, Tanya Bell, Heather McGregor, Paul Roy, Kerry Stevens and Carol Watson for being elected by your community to represent them on this board. It's great to see so many people put themselves forward to represent their community, and I wish you all the best for your 3-year term. I'm sure individually and collectively you'll serve the communities of Waihemo well. In terms of the agenda this evening, we'll take things a little out of the order on the published agenda. In a minute, we'll invite each member of the board up to make a declaration to the Mayor, which I will witness. And then following the declarations, we'll move on to item 3.2, the election of the chairperson. And following the election of the chairperson, I will hand the meeting over to the elected person to take us through the rest of the agenda. So without further ado, we move to item 3.1 and the declarations. I invite His Worship to come and see the declarations, and starting off with Tanya, please.
I, Tanya Bell, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of the Waihemo Ward and the Waitaki District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Waihemo Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act.
Tanya.
Oh.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done.
I, Heather Ann McGregor, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Waihemo Ward in the Waitaki District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Waihemo Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act.
Thanks. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so, Paul. Stand exactly.
That's exactly there.
Exactly there.
That would be my luck stance. I, Paul Robert Roy, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Waihemo Ward and the Waitaki District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Waihemo Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Act Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act.
Well done. Congratulations. Okay.
I, Kerry Maxwell Stevens, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform, in the best interests of the Waihemo ward in the Waitaki district, the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Waihemo Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act.
Congratulations to you. Thank you very much. And Carol.
I, Carol Marie Watson, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Waihemo ward in the Waitaki district the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Waihemo Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act.
Congratulations. Well done.
Congratulations, everyone, and thank you for that. We're now going to move on to item 3.2, the election of a chairperson for the Waihemo Community Board. Under the Act, there are two processes that can be used for the election of the chairs for the board to select the process. I'd recommend to the board that they choose the second process, so System B, which requires a simple majority of votes. So, do I have anyone that would like to propose System B?
I'll do that.
Is a seconder? All those in favour of using System B? That's carried. In which case then I'll call for nominations for the position of chairperson of the community board. Do I have any nominations?
I'd like to move Heather McGregor.
Do I have a seconder for that?
Oh, second it.
Are there any other nominations? One nomination then. Can I ask all those in favour to say aye? Any against? Okay, in which case that's carried, and you're duly elected as the chairperson of the Waihemo Community Board. Congratulations. I shall now hand over. Yours.
Congratulations, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you everybody. Now we will move on to the election of the deputy chairperson. Are there any nominations for the deputy chairperson?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Paul Robert Roy.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for Paul?
Yes, I'd like to second this nomination.
Tanya Bell would like to second that. Are there any other nominations for deputy chair? No other nominations received. All those in favour of Paul Robert Roy as deputy chairperson, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Congratulations, Paul.
Thanks.
At this stage, I'd like to invite if there's any discussion on the remuneration aspects of the agenda as provided on item 3.2 on page 15.
Through you, Madam Chair, I'd just like to make an amendment to my agenda report on page 15. I have used the words Rary Community Board instead of Waihemo Community Board when I referred to one of the rates. It's just in the recommendation, sorry, in the report itself, it's not in the recommendation, so I apologise for that.
Thank you, noted. Is there any other discussions? Okay, is there any further discussions? We will move that on. Now I would like to go back to the agenda and start at agenda item number 1. Are there any apologies for this meeting? No apologies. No. Item number 2 on page 5. Are there any declarations of interest in this agenda? No declarations. Thank you. We'll move on to item 3.3, the election report for 2022. And I'd like to invite CE Alex to speak to that, please.
I won't speak very long to it. We're required to report the results of the election to the council and community boards. I will take the report as read. Questions?
Are there any questions in relation to the election report? No discussion? Someone would like to move that report, please?
I'll do that, Madam Chair.
A seconder? Yeah. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Now move on to item 3.4 on page 22, minute of appreciation for outgoing elected members. I'll take the report as read. Would anybody like to speak to that report? I would just perhaps just like to acknowledge Katrina Dodd, who did the last term, 3 years of the last term, for her input and service and her contribution to the board. Any further discussion?
Through you, Madam Chair, just note that usually at the Mural Christmas function following an election, there's an opportunity for us to recognise the service of ones who have retired from service. So there will be an opportunity, certainly for Katrina to be invited to that, and just acknowledge the time that she had as a community board member, along with a number of other elected members who have retired at the same time.
Thank you, Gavin. Thank you. Okay, all those, if there's no further discussion of that, would somebody like to move 3.4 of the agenda?
I'll move that.
Thank you, Paul. Seconder, please.
I'll second it.
All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Now we'll move on to item number 4 of the agenda, the sorry, I can't spell that. And I would like to ask CE Alex if he would do the explanation of the legislation, please. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chair. So I'm afraid I will talk a little bit longer this time. You'll be pleased to know I won't go through the report word for word. I just want to draw your attention to some things that I need to in terms of the legislation that governs the council and the community board. So in terms of the report, I'd just like to highlight first of all the Local Government Act 2002, which spells out local government's purpose, its general powers, specific bylaw making powers, and the principles and processes that councils must abide by when making decisions. And the purpose of local government is defined in section 10 of the Local Government Act as to enable democratic local decision making and action by and on behalf of communities, and to promote the social, economic, environmental and cultural well-being of communities in the present and in the future. The Local Government Act is based on the principle of general competence that enables a council to do whatever is necessary to fulfil its role and achieve its purpose. As elected members of the community board, you're responsible for making decisions that around your areas of responsibility, and you must act in accordance with the key principles set out in section 14 of the Local Government Act. The second area is around personal liability for elected members. Section 43 of the Local Government Act provides an indemnity for elected members in relation to civil liability. The member is acting in good faith and in pursuance of the responsibility of all powers of the council. The LGA provides for a theoretical personal exposure for elected members in certain circumstances if the council has incurred loss due to actions of elected members. So that's set out in the report there. The third piece of legislation I draw your attention to is the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, commonly known as LGOIMA. We all know and love this. Its stated purpose is to make official information held by local authorities more freely available, to provide access to information, and to provide for admission to meetings of local authorities, and to protect official information held by local authorities consistent with the public interest and preservation of personal privacy. So the Act is very broad. It doesn't define the word information, but it sees official information as any item of information held by a local authority in whatever form. The fundamental principle of the Act is that information must be made available unless there's a good reason under the Act to withhold it. Anyone can request the information, and there are within the Act some good reasons set out why official information can be refused from being released. If the grounds for refusal do not fall within one of these good reasons, then the information must be released. So need to have regard to that in the conduct of the board and the information related to your role as board members. I mentioned the access to meetings as well. So the Act provides that the public and media have a right to access to all council meetings, committees, subcommittees and community boards unless the meeting resolves to exclude the public. Copies of the meeting agendas must be made available for the public and the media, and the grounds for excluding the public and the media from a meeting can only be those provided for within the Act. I'd like to also draw your attention to the Local Authorities Members' Interest Act 1968. This Act contains provisions relating to the contracts between elected members and the council, and provisions related to elected members voting on matters in which they have a pecuniary interest. In terms of that pecuniary interest, the Act provides that no elected member shall vote on or take part in a discussion on any matter which that person has directly or indirectly any pecuniary interest other than an interest in common with the public. The prohibition against discussing or voting on matters does not apply in certain situations which are set out in the Act and in this report. I'd also like to draw your attention to the Crimes Act 1961, and in particular sections 99, 105 and 105A. And within section 99, this defines for the purpose of the Crimes Act an official as any member or employee of a local authority. A member here would include a community board member. Section 105 of the Act provides that it is an offence punishable by 7 years imprisonment for an official to corruptly accept or obtain or to attempt to obtain any bribe in respect of anything done or omitted to be done by the official in their official capacity. Nearing the end now, you'll be pleased to know that we'd like to also highlight the Secret Commissions Act 1910. This Act puts in legislation the principle that a person holding a position of trust, such as elected members, should not make a profit through their office. So no more on that one. The Health and Safety at Work Act 2015, which allocates duties to those people in the best position to control risks to health and safety. For the purposes of this Act, elected council members, including mayor and councillors, are regarded to have a role and responsibility in this, but it excludes community board members from having a role within the Health and Safety at Work Act 2015. And then finally, you'll be pleased to know the Public Records Act 2005, whose purpose is to provide a framework to keep central and local government organisations accountable by ensuring records are full and accurate, well maintained and accessible. So I'm required to draw your attention to those. We do have some information sessions that have been provided, which you should be receiving invites for if you haven't done so already, by Simpson Grierson, who will take us all through the legislation so we can get a better understanding of it and how it affects your roles.
Thank you. Are there any questions in relation to that? No questions? Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? A seconder, please. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Now we'll draw to number. Yeah. So just before we close the meeting, just like to advise that the Waitaki District Council confirmed at its meeting on the 1st of November that the first meeting of the Waihemo Community Board will be held on Monday the 5th of December from 6 o'clock at the Waihemo Service Centre in Palmerston. Thank you. I now declare the meeting closed. Thank you.
Madam Chair.